Hey guys, it's Brandon. In this video, I want to talk to you about the book Atomic Habits written by James Clear, and I have it upstairs. Was just going through it again, highlighting some of the notes and kind of putting together a mind map on it. But want to talk a little bit about how it's impacted me and my behaviors over the last 6 months. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Hey guys, this is Brandon with BrandonYeager.com. I'm going to be doing a quick mind wrap review of the highlights of Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I have quite a few notes that I've taken of this book. If you are interested in downloading my mind map notes and items that I've taken out of it, feel free to head over to BrandonYeager.com/newsletter. At least for the time being, I'm going to have this PDF available for download. But I'm not going to go through everything like I normally do. This book, I took a lot of notes out of it, but I just want to highlight a lot of the main ones. So James Clear, he's a habit expert, and he's been helping people for many years make and break habits. And he says that habit is a routine or a behavior that is performed regularly and in many cases automatically. So that was just kind of some background on it. And the backbone of the book is his 4-step model regarding cues, craving, response, and rewards. And that kind of piggybacks off of Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit. And I have that book as well. I didn't find that it was a crazy, enjoyable read. I thought it had a little bit too much psychology for me and not enough tools, and that's okay. So the everybody has different things that they like about the books, but this particular case here right now, he had a nice metaphor. Habits are the double-edged sword. They can either cut you down or build you up, and that's so true. Like either we can develop good habits and build upon those, or if we let things get away from ourselves, then it can also hurt us. What I kind of liked as well is he had talked about an ice cube, and I thought it was a pretty powerful. I'm not sure, maybe an anecdote or an example or a metaphor. Not quite positive which one that would be, but basically, an ice cube could be sitting there in a room, and let's say the temperature is 25 degrees. And as the temperature rises, it's building up an energy inside of it, and it has not started to physically change at all. And then all of a sudden it gets to a certain point and it hits 32 degrees, and then the ice starts to melt. And he likens that to a habit where as you start these habits, you're not able to see what's happening in the background. Oftentimes it's happening, small changes are occurring. And in this case, the temperature was rising. You're not able to really see it. And then all of a sudden, all the work that has been happening, it's very evident. So I thought it was a great example. And also, results have very little to do with goals and nearly everything to do with systems. And as I've been on this personal development quest, that's what I've been searching for, is how to better my systems that I operate my daily life with, so that I can be firing on all cylinders and make better decisions and build better habits. So he also has a framework here where he talks about the 3 layers of behavior change. Outcomes are what you get, processes are what you are about to do, and identity is about what you believe. And it's pretty interesting because he says that most people start on that outer layer, the outcomes, and then they move to the processes. They they want to hit 180 pounds or whatever it happens to be, and then are going to follow this certain process, and then they're going to start to believe something about their identity after they essentially get there. He says it's kind of the backwards way of what you want to do, is you really want to focus on changing your belief on who you are. Instead of saying I have to go for a run, you want to be saying I am a runner and I get to run. And that kind of all ties into being more positive and changing the outlook about that, and basically rewriting your identity into something that you believe wholeheartedly in. Changing what you do changes who you are. I thought that was a pretty solid takeaway from it. And all behavior is driven by the desire to solve a problem. Habits are designed to solve problems we face. And I think that's pretty key to bear in mind. He also talks about a point and call, and he talks specifically about the Japanese subway safety system, where they point out all the steps that they're taking and call them out to be more aware and more cognizant of what it is that they're doing and how that impacts them. And he talks about a thing called implementation intentions, and he has a little framework sentence put together. It says, "I will behavior at time and location," and I kind of rearranged it BLT just to kind of make it like food sounding, but it would still work whether it's BTL or BLT. The bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. But he also talks about, I think it was BJ Fogg, habit stacking formula. After I wrote habit number one, I will habit number two. And I wrote the BRCA words in there a little bit differently. He had like current habit and new habit. But basically, it's whenever I do this, I will immediately do this, where you're starting to then stack one habit after the other one. And that's really what has been giving me personally a lot of success over the last 6 months, as I've begun to implement one change at a time and build them upon each other. That's where I've seen the biggest benefit. Personally, I put, love this. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. And that is so true. Like if you, as a matter of fact, even like my lunch that I take here to my office building, if I simply, if I have so much food in my refrigerator and there's always temptation there, then that's very difficult. Versus if I can cleanse my environment and have basically the only things that I'm going to have for lunch that day are in my refrigerator, it makes it very simple for me to not overeat in that regard. And, maybe I'm going to lay out my clothes every single night before I wake up in the morning. And I do that. I've made that a part of my routine. My day starts the night before every single day, and it makes all the difference in the world for everything. So, second law, make it attractive. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. And he talks about habit bundling. I found that a pretty interesting concept. After a habit that you're doing, a habit that I need, something that you have to do that maybe you don't like to do. And after I do that, then I will do a habit that I want. So after I get done with lunch break, I will make 3 sales calls. And after I make 3 sales calls, then I get to check social media. After I pull out my phone, I will do 10 push-ups. After I do 10 push-ups, I will check Facebook. Those are just some examples of what the habit bundling looks like, but I like it. And I see a lot of value to that and being able to implement that into my daily routine. The best is the enemy of the good. We let procrastination, the need for more information and research, stop us in our tracks. And I absolutely am guilty of that oftentimes. And I think oftentimes every one of us falls under this imposter syndrome where we don't think we're good enough and we need more knowledge, more information before we can take action on whatever it is. We're better off just taking imperfect action and moving forward based off the results. Mastering a habit starts with repetition, not perfection. So get your reps in. Habits form based on frequency, not necessarily time. So a lot of times he was oftentimes asked, how long do I need to do something before it becomes a habit? And he's saying that that's not the right question to be asked. It's how many repetitions does it take to form a habit? Because it might not be 30 days or 60 days. It might be 200 repetitions exercised over the next 7 days are going to make something a habit. Or maybe it's going to be every time you do put something in your mouth, you're going to eat, that you're going to do 20 push-ups or something along those lines. So it's not necessarily days, but if you do something where every single time you eat, then you're going to have something, then you're able to build up those habits. I just made a note. Page 161 has a good diagram, but a note that 2 of the words were incorrect on it, I believe. The 2-minute rule: when starting a new habit, find something that takes less than 2 minutes to do. I thought that was pretty good. If you're going to run 3 miles, he talks about just simply putting on your running shoes. Or if you're going to tell yourself that you want to read 10 minutes before bed each night, just take 1 page, something that you can do fast and you can get a quick reward, and it will automatically lead then to the next step. And I also love this. If you show up at the gym 5 days in a row, even if it's just for 2 minutes, you're casting votes for your new identity. And I'd mentioned it in a recent video. Yeah, I did not want to wake up and go to the gym this morning, but I set the alarm for 5 o'clock. I went to the gym. It was probably my worst lifting session that I've had in 6 weeks. I did not want to do it at all. I made myself though, and I was glad that I did once I was done, but didn't feel like it last night whenever I was setting the alarm. What is immediately rewarded is repeated, and what is immediately punished is avoided. Help focus on the process. Downside, you now have to do two habits. Okay, so what he's talking about here is tracking your habits. And if you start to track your habits, the downside is you've added a second habit that you need to implement. But the good side is you're able to observe the progress, and it makes it so rewarding. Just like how I've been tracking my weight on a daily basis, but using the 7-day average. So, to add that and habit stack it, after I blank, I will blank, track my habit. After I weigh myself, I will enter it into MyFitnessPal. When you miss due to an emergency, never miss 2 times in a row. That's a great suggestion. Writing yourself a contract and signing it, I thought that was a really awesome idea as well. If you want to commit to something, put it in writing. And if you really want to go overboard, give it to a friend or an accountability partner. And then just one final note: repeating habits helps to build identity. So I hope you enjoyed going through some of the highlights that I've been able to take out of James Clear book, Atomic Habits. I do believe that the small habits that I've been making over the last several months have been contributing significantly to the progress that I've been making. He talks about 1% improvements on the day. He uses an example of the British cycling team, and I think that that's been awesome. As a matter of fact, this video that you're watching right now is day 30 out of 30 for my video day challenge, my 30-day video challenge, which probably wouldn't have thought about doing that 3 months ago, but decided to put myself out there and do it. And it's been awesome. I've learned out of it, and it's been enjoyable, but there won't be one on Sunday. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you here soon. Give me a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. Thanks.